welcome back to another episode of the Answers You podcast. Here we discuss every week little topics on how to improve relationships. I'm a big believer that the moment we shift internally, we create a ripple effect into every single relationship we have in our life, and with that, empower ourselves to stand in our power with whatever difficult or conflict situation that may arise, and allow us to keep our center even in the challenge, so we can raise above our challenges and also create the healthy and thriving relationships in our life that we are looking for with other people and also with ourselves. So today I want to talk about how to start stepping out of victim mentality. And I feel more people than you would think, they have maybe not, it's not that obvious, but they still carry a victim mentality within. So what do I mean with that? Victim mentality is anything where you still feel the need of validating or proving why you deserve to feel bad. And we all have that with something, and that's not a bad thing. I feel like victim mentality always seems to be such a bad word where we're just like, oh, I'm not the victim. Still, I'm complaining about something that happened 10 years ago that makes me feel like I cannot do what I want to do with my life. This is centered in victim mentality too, because the moment we start using outer circumstances as a way for us to validate that we are not where we are supposed to be, that we don't have the financial means, whatever it is, it's still partially rooted in victim mentality. And that is because we cannot change what happens to us. We cannot change the experience we had. The only thing we can change is how we respond to those challenges that we experienced. So I want to talk about this today. And I came up with 3 important steps to move out of victim mentality. And number 1 is, and that is the most essential one, is taking responsibility. Taking responsibility for every single thing that is happening in our life. And sometimes it's really hard, because there is sometimes things that are happening to us that are super unfair. Some things that are extremely heartbreaking and painful. And finding the responsibility in that can be really, really hard. Especially if it's maybe someone who wronged us, where we just feel like we just tried to love them, but they couldn't reciprocate that. Or we tried to trust, but they let us down. This is where it's really hard, but we need to start seeing our responsibility in whatever happened to us, so we can rise above it, so we can move on from it. And of course, certain things, for example, that are happening in our childhood, we can, back then, we were not really able to do anything about it. Let's say you have a parent that was not present as you were growing up, so you're dealing with a lot of abandonment issues. But what can you do right here now, and where can you take responsibility for what is happening in your relationships right here and now, where this abandonment topic gets mirrored back to you? Maybe you always attract a partner who at some point will let you down and will leave. Maybe you have a partner or a friend that every time it gets really hard in your life, they let you down. They disappear until you feel better. So use this as your opportunity. And of course, that is awful. If people are letting you down, if people are ghosting you, if people are just running away and out of your life when things get hard. But what is it teaching you? And this is where you step back in your power. Because of course, you can spend the next 15 years asking yourself, Why is this happening to me? Why do I keep attracting those people that are doing this? Or you can rise above it and see it as your chance for growth, where you need to start taking responsibility in a matter where you can see what's your part in it. Maybe you are always acting a certain way that is pushing people away. Maybe you cannot be vulnerable with someone. And that is really about you self-reflecting on yourself and asking yourself, what could have caused that behavior? And this is how you stand so much in your power, because otherwise you're just blaming someone else's behavior that you are not able to change, and you will also not change in the future for anyone else either. So then you're in a constant cycle. But the moment you put the focus back on yourself and ask yourself, what is my part in it? Why are people leaving me? What am I not seeing? Maybe I'm choosing the wrong people to be in my life. Maybe I'm not seeing red flags that I should pay attention to. So taking responsibility and seeing your part in it is so essential to step out of victim mentality. And number 2 is taking action, meaning moving on from what happened to you. Because we can remain in this freeze response, which is very common if we go through a breakup, or there is like a family member where things are hard and then they're not part of our life anymore, or things are just hard for years. That keeps us in this freeze response where you're just like, I feel like I can't move on from that. I feel like I will always be struggling with that. And maybe there is a part of you that will always be struggling with that. I'm finding my words here. And that is okay. But none of us know how much time we have on this planet. And we cannot get our time back. So do you really want to spend the next 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 years explaining to yourself and validating how you feel to yourself for you to not take action? Like, not allowing yourself to travel, to move places, to find new love, to trust a new person to be part of your life and to be your next partner because you got hurt, because things were hard, because there was a family member that could not love you the way you deserve to be loved. So take action, because action is what makes us stand in our power. It's not thinking and rethinking and overthinking. It's us taking action in the right direction, in the direction where we want to go. Because there unfortunately always is something happening in each and everyone's life that is hard. But there we can always decide, is that the one thing that will not allow us to keep living our life? Or can we rise above that challenge and move on? And this is how you stand in your power, and this is how you move out of victim mentality. The one version of yourself holds on to that past, to that situation, to that family member, to that partner that was not for you, and keeps blaming in a certain way that situation or that person for you not achieving your goals, for you not living your best life. This is not being in your power. So allow yourself to take action and move on, even if it's hard, even if you're struggling, even if there's parts of yourself that are hurting deeply. Move on step by step. You don't have to run a marathon tomorrow after a heartbreak or after some other situation that was very difficult and challenging for you, but you got to move on. Got to take action. That's how you take your power back. And the third is, and that blends into the second one, is forgiveness. If there is something that happened in your life that was hard, or there was a heartbreak that was tearing you apart, that is terrible. But see the gift in it. And even if that's hard, what did it bring you? Maybe now you're stronger. Maybe now you're reflecting more if that person is aligned for you. Maybe you're seeing red flags faster. Maybe you allow yourself to communicate your needs with more confidence because now you know exactly what you want and what you do not want. And that is so powerful. And that blends into the forgiveness because we can never change what used to happen in past situations or experiences that we went through. May it be heartbreak, may it be someone who lied to us, who cheated on us, whatever it is, we cannot change that. But the longer we hold on to it, we also stop living our life right here and now. And with that, we're not creating the future that we desire to live because we're stuck in the past instead of being present with what is and extending grace and extending forgiveness. Maybe not even because that person deserves it, but because you deserve forgiveness for your own life so you can move on. So forgive those who wrong you, even if that's really, really hard. And maybe that takes years for us to really mean it when we say it. But the more we say it, we allow ourselves to also see that we had a part in it because we were the connecting piece that created that situation. And even if it was completely wrong and terrible, and I do understand that it's really hard to have forgiveness in certain situations. I really do. But it's for you. It's for you so you can create peace with the past and move on and stand in your power and say, this did not define me. This did not make me fall into pieces. This created a new version of myself that is even more in their own power. Well, I hope this was helpful for you guys. So really, there's 3 important stepping stones to step out of victim mentality is taking responsibility, taking action, and forgiveness. Let me know what you think about this episode. I can't wait to see you next week. Have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for listening to the Answers You podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe at Terra Healing, to follow us along on YouTube, or subscribe on Apple Podcast or Spotify Podcast to The Answer Is You. Feel free to also follow us along on Instagram for daily insights on how to heal body and mind. In our link in bio, you will find free stress and anxiety resets, calming and relaxation playlists, as well as informations on classes, workshops, and one-on-one offerings in person in the Pittsburgh area, as well as virtual sessions. You can also find our links to our healing journals, as well as download our new trigger journal. We can't wait to see you there.